Welcome to another episode of Surround Yourself with Greatness. Today, I'm really excited to be surrounded by Damon Dillard. And I met Damon in Atlanta, in ATL. We were at a mastermind. And, I'm all about getting in the room. And Damon, I'm pretty sure he's going to talk about the importance of getting into the room. But what really attracted me to Damon was his energy. And, he just had this abundance of energy that he was just sharing with the audience and the community, and it was contagious. And I caught it, and luckily it wasn't COVID, but it was that I caught. And I was like, dude, you need to come to my community. You need to bring that energy. But more importantly, you need to bring the wisdom, because he spoke and he was dropping knowledge, man, around what it takes to be successful, how he went from earning $9 to, now 6-7 figures, right? I asked him, what is your goal for 2022? And straight, he was like, $1 million a month. That's the goal. So, I would like to surround myself with people with those types of dreams, right? You're changing the equation from being paid 26 times a year to being paid every single day, even when you're sleeping. So, Damon, thank you so much for joining. How are you doing, my friend?
Man, I am doing absolutely amazing. I am super, super excited for this episode. I want to go ahead and throw it back to you as well and just acknowledge you and shout out you for a second for just having this incredible platform. I remember being in a state where I wanted this information more than anything in the world. So the fact that you're making your mark and really taking care of your corner of the universe, I can do nothing but acknowledge that and thank you for the opportunity to share as well.
Amazing. So where I usually like to start is from the very beginning, because it's easy for people to see Jeff Bezos today where he's at, but forget that there was a point in time where he was just like you and me, or maybe you're probably in a better position than him, but he had a vision, he had a dream, he was willing to go out and get it. And, a lot of people could have told him like, hey, this dream of building Amazon is not the thing, get a job and just stick to this 9-to-5 thing. But he decided to create his own destiny, right? So I think that's a similar story to you, because when you briefly told me you were working, a 9-to-5 job, making less than $10 an hour, but here you are today, the high income sales coach. So walk me through your journey, bro.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, man, I truly believe, just like you said, we can't trust people that we can't trace. Because a lot of times, if I'm not familiar with your background and I can say, hey, you know what, you are just like me, it's going to be very, very difficult for me to listen to you. So I want to say that first and foremost, I'm no different from any of your audience right now. First of all, I was born at a very young age. Some of you all will get that on the way home. But I started off very, very well, did well in kindergarten. I tried my very best and did everything that the teachers told me to do. But, I was sold the same dream as anybody else that's probably watching this. There was a system that my mother told me would work for me to create success in my life. And I went out in the world and I did that, right? I went to school. I got great grades. I ended up going to college. I did not graduate. I actually graduated as a sophomore, which means that doesn't necessarily come with a degree. But I tried it, right? I went to the corporate workforce. I did well as an 18-year-old. I was a general manager for Bally Total Fitness, but I was simply trying to find my way. I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't know really what my gift was. I just knew that I wanted to be well off. I didn't even know what rich was. So long story short, I had been a manager for Bally Total Fitness for about 3 years, went on to start a mortgage company, went on to do little odds and ends in the sales industry, started to get a knack for selling. I realized that I loved the thrill of the chase. I wanted to be ethical. I wanted to do morally based sales. I wanted to really help people. But I love the idea that there was no cap in my income. Well, long story short, I ended up working 80 to 100 hours a week, had a conversation with my father, and he said, listen, Damon, if you don't go back to school and get a degree, you will always work 80 to 120 hours a week. You need to get a degree, because if you do, now companies will pay you not only for your resume, but also for your talent. Now, I want to stop right there. You have to be very discerning on who you listen to, because the advice that you're getting is going to lead you one of two places. either to poverty or to prosperity. And nothing against my father, but I love him to life. I was taking advice from someone who had not produced the results I ultimately wanted in my life. Does that make sense? So what I ended up doing, I went back to school. I tried to play basketball. I thought I was going to be the next Nate Robinson. That didn't work out. Fast forward, I'm broke. I'm broken. I'm looking for opportunities. I end up falling into an opportunity being a furniture moving specialist, right? In other words, I was on a truck every day moving furniture, okay? I'm making $9 an hour. Again, I'm broken. I'm not really sure what the future is going to hold. I didn't have a vision. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have an opportunity. I didn't have a platform. And I remember being introduced to what I call personal self-development. Do you want me to keep going, or are we good here?
Keep going, brother. You're on a roll. I don't want to stop you.
I believe, I'm not here to push my belief upon anybody else, but I am a spiritual person. I truly believe that when God wants to change something in your life, he will either remove somebody from your life or he will add somebody into it. Once again, it's your discernment in knowing who that person is. Well, when I met my mentor, I was broke and again broken. I mean, I was broke with multiple O's. I remember going to a meeting. I did not know that this would be my friend, my brother, and my mentor for life. But I remember, write this in your notes, seeing an example of what life can be. I believe that your mind needs two different things. It needs a direction.
He made it real for you.
Yes. Your mind needs a direction and your mind needs a hero. In other words, your mind needs a goal and your mind needs an example. And when I saw that young man, what I saw is, okay, Damon, the future can look a lot different from your present. Does that make sense? I don't know if you guys have ever been there, but you ever see somebody that just looks like money? And when I looked at him, I said, listen, I don't know what you know, but if I can figure out what's in your head, I can have exactly what's in your hand. The question that I asked him after that meeting is what changed my life and exploded us into this area of synchronicity for the past 7 years. This is what I said. And I want to drop a tip to you all, because I know a lot of people go to masterminds, they go to events, they go to different seminars, and they meet these people that they look up to. And I think the quality of your questions will determine the quality of your life. So you don't want to ask the typical questions, right? Most people ask, hey, what are you reading? This is what I asked them. I said, what do you know that nobody else in this room knows that caused you to make $300,000 a month while most people are not even making $500 a month in this company? And this is what he told me, my friend. He said, Damon, no one believes the way that I do. And I'll be honest, like for me, it wasn't a paradigm shifting moment. It wasn't an epiphany, like clouds didn't open up, God didn't talk to me. I was really confused. I listen, I leaned in and I was like, so what's the real answer? Like, show me the skills, show me the tactic, show me how to sell. Like, what is it? He said, no one believes the way that I do. And so I just bought it. I said, so what do I need to know? What do I need to study? He gave me several books, several audios, and he said, listen, I want you to immerse yourself in this idea of believing. I ended up listening to an audio by a gentleman by the name of Earl Nightingale. It's called The Strangest Secret. He told me he listened to it for 6 months straight. I said, you know what? I'll listen to it until I get the principle right. See, the problem that most people have that I've experienced from mentorships, from mentoring and coaching people is everyone reads books, right? We got all these books on our bookshelf, but nobody can really tell us, hey, what was in chapter 3? What principle did you master last year that increased your life or your income? And so when I got into the information he gave me, I didn't want to master reading books. I wanted to master certain principles. For instance, in Think and Grow Rich, there's a principle of the auto-suggestion. The only way to increase your faith, right? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. That means if I want to increase my income, I got to increase my faith and belief. Well, what is belief? Belief is to believe or trust something is being true. So I may have a belief at that time that I could only make $9 an hour or trade my time for money. Well, if I want to adopt a new belief, that means that I'm going to have to suggest something automatically to myself. Damon, what are you talking about? That means that what I'm saying to myself over and over is eventually going to create my future. So what did I start saying? Money comes to me easily. Maybe I'm getting a little too far ahead of myself. You want me to keep going? I know you got a question, man.
No.
I
think it's super important because let me tell you why. A lot of the people in my community, these are people who are trying to make money online. They're trying to get a side hustle. They're trying to make a little bit of extra. And I think knowing this information to tell them that, hey, yes, it's cool to do a side hustle that you can make a couple $100 a week, but you if you believe you could be making that in a minute, in a second, it's first work on the mindset and then get into the tactics. So I really like where you're going. So keep going, brother. I don't want to. You have it. You have the flow, man. Keep going.
Yeah. That's 100% right, man. One of the first things that I heard from that audio is, as a man believes in his heart, so is he. Or, in other words, I want you to put this in your notes. You become what you think about most of the time. That was one of the first principles that changed my life forever. I said,
I'm thinking about being a billionaire all the time.
100%. And it works. Here's how I know it works. Unequivocally, like, there's no arguing. See, what I love are laws. I love laws and I love principles, because laws are irrefutable. I cannot argue the law of gravity, right? I can't say, hey, listen, because I'm rich, because I'm black, because I'm young, because I'm fit, I can jump off of a tall building and float. No, the law of gravity says I'm going to fall no matter what. Guess what? There are laws to producing wealth. There are laws to producing successful relationships. If you're doing an online company, there are laws to creating success within that. So once you figure out the laws, all you have to do is apply them. What's the law? Well, the first law is you become what you think about most of the time. Okay, so let me think. If at that time of my life, I'm making $9 an hour, I'm past due on my rent, my utilities, I'm past due on every single one of my promises, that means up to that point, I had been thinking about poverty. I had been thinking about scarcity. Well, most people are going to argue that, like, no, Damon, I'm not where I want to be in life right now, but I'm definitely not thinking about poverty. Well, I beg to differ. See, what I've experienced is most people are talking about their past more than they talk about their future. And if you would look up the definition of the word future right now, future means the time or period of time following the moment of speaking or writing. You can't argue with a definition. I'm gonna say it again. The time or period of time following the moment of speaking or writing. So guess what? If I'm talking about the failed relationship I had, if I'm talking about the failed business, the failed project, who didn't show up for my mastermind, who didn't show up for my online product, who didn't buy what, more than I'm talking about what's about to happen in my life, guess what? I'm creating more of the same.
So can I tell you a little story?
Please, absolutely.
So I was born in Zimbabwe, and we were hit by a severe drought when I was 7 years old. So during that drought, I got to experience what it's like to be hungry, right? Because there was no food. I'd go to bed on an empty stomach. My father was part of the food relief efforts because he was part of the ministry at church, and I asked him, I'm like, who's donating the food, right? Because I was a curious 7-year-old. And he goes like, oh, successful business people are making donations to nonprofit organizations like World Vision, and they're the ones who are making it possible for us to eat. So in my mind, I was like, you know what? I want to be a successful entrepreneur. And also, I want to go to America because I guess that's where it's happening. So in that moment, I committed to coming to America and becoming a successful entrepreneur. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but that was kind of like my thing. And I didn't know what I was doing when I was a kid, but I would visualize myself in Bel Air. I would visualize myself in Miami, right? Because those were the shows I was watching. I was watching Fresh Prince and so forth and so forth. And when it came time to come to America, like when I graduated high school, I had a couple of my friends that were kind of like dipping the toe with the idea, but they were not jumping and swimming, because if you want to swim, you have to put your full body into it, right? So my friends were not like fully immersed, but I was. And when the rubber met the road, right, when we now needed to study for our SATs, when we now needed to figure out how to get internet in order for us to submit the college applications and so forth, one by one, they just started backing out like, you know what, yeah, I'll just apply for a school in Zimbabwe. It's much easier and so forth and so forth. But I was like, for me, this is all or nothing, because in my subconscious, I had no other future reality than being in America. And what ended up happening was that I turned down opportunities. I had a full ride scholarship at a university in Zimbabwe. And I was like, no, this is not my future, right? The time of writing. This is not what I wrote. And it took me 2 years from the day I said no to that opportunity to when I finally got a scholarship to come to America. Now, during that 2-year period, imagine the mental thoughts that could, that were affecting me, right? Not could, that were actually affecting me. Like, dude, are you sure about this? But I was like, no, it's gonna happen, or I don't know what else, but it's gonna happen.
Period.
And it eventually did.
Yes.
And I could have given up 3 months, 6 months, a year into it, right? And people would have legitimately said, yeah, you know what? You gave a year, it's all right. But I went 2 years and got that scholarship, came to America, studied, graduated, became valedictorian, started a business when I was in college, started multiple businesses in corporate America, and now I have a business and I'm partners with Tony Robbins.
Wow.
None of that would have happened if I had given up on my goal, on my future reality. But I had so much belief in me that America is my destiny, that even though my parents could only give me $40 to come, that's all my parents gave me. I arrived in America with a suitcase in Miami with $40 in my pocket, not knowing anything else. I knew if I was to buy toothpaste, some lotion and everything, I'm now back to zero.
Yes.
But I was like, at least I'm here, I will build. And it's literally the belief. It's number one more than anything else.
100%. Do you mind if I ask you a question? How young are you right now?
I'm 35.
Watch this. When did you start your first company after college?
After when I was literally the next year after I graduated college.
So you're about 22?
Yeah, 22.
Here's what a lot of people don't catch, but I caught it in your story because I'm attuned to it, right? You told me that you made a decision at 7.
Mm-hmm.
The decision was made at 7.
Yep.
The fruition of that wasn't for another 15 years. Mm-hmm. So what happens to a lot of people is they hear this, right? They listen to, okay, all I have to do is believe, bet. I'm going to go ahead and write down my goals, right? I'm going to go ahead and start visualizing. And then 2 months later, they're like, it's not working. Your mind is the GPS for your life. The minute you give your mind a command, I am going to be in America. I am going to be a successful businessman. You know how ridiculous you sound 2 months later saying, well, I guess it's not going to happen. It would be the same as me saying, hey, I live in Ohio. I'm going to drive to Los Angeles, California. It would be the same as me ending up in Indianapolis, 3 hours in the ride, and being frustrated, pulling over at the side of the road and saying,
I'm not here yet.
I don't see the sign of LA yet. What's going on? No. Everything that's happening in your life is happening for you. See, a lot of times when people see the detours or the crashes or the backed up traffic on the way to their dreams, they end up stopping, not understanding that when things are falling apart, no, my friend, things are actually falling into place. Your responsibility is to trust the process. Are you trusting the fact that everything has been rigged in your favor? See, all it is a belief. I believe that every single challenge that I see is creating the muscular need that I need for my future reality. See, there's things that I'm experiencing right now. Had I not experienced those things while I was moving furniture, when I left that company and went to my first company and experienced failure or experienced defeat or experienced debt or people promising certain things, I would not be in the position where I am right now. But what we're telling you is, what belief are you going to have during that period? Are you going to believe, oh, I guess it's not meant for me? Or are you going to believe this is created for me to win?
That's super powerful. And I know you love to work out and you love to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And what happens when you're working out is your muscles are breaking, right? You're tearing up the muscles so that you could build it to make it stronger. What a lot of people fail to realize is that that painful process, it's their muscle, their resilience muscle breaking up and rebuilding it so that you can be stronger and be able to carry, that burden, right? So, for instance, if you just were to become a millionaire today, if you haven't gone through the process, right, of building resilience and learning certain lessons, that blessing might kill you, right? And I'm also a believer, and I'm going to refer to the story of the Israelites, right? The journey from Egypt to the Promised Land wasn't 40 years. It was probably like a month or even less or something like that. But because they were not ready and they had to go through that journey, God gave them the long route in order for them to get there. So the blessing is always there, but sometimes God waits for you to be the person who can carry the blessing. Because if he gives you the blessing when you haven't become that person,
you're going to squander it.
Exactly.
You're going to squander it. It's be, do, have, right? A lot of us are like, man, I really want the millions of dollars right now, but you haven't become the person capable of having it. And that's the trusting the process part, right? It's, okay, I know through me going through the trials, tribulations, the challenges, me going through the different companies, the different experiences, it is building me up. Like you said, that fortitude, that muscular perseverance, it is building me into the person that I need to be in order to do the correct things to have the prize that's already set up for me.
Yep. So one thing that I want to ask you is crushing goals.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people set goals and some get to crush them, some don't. What is your process as you're setting up these big, hairy, audacious goals to make sure you follow through? Because I have a thesis, and the thesis is high achievers set more and crush more goals.
Yeah.
Because that's really just the way it is, right? If you had this one goal of, like, let's say I want to lose 10 pounds, and it's just the same goal for 20 years of your life, you're not making much progress, right?
Yeah.
So my question to you is, like, what's your goal setting process? How do you then just kind of like make sure that those big, hairy, audacious goals that you set, you crush them? Because it's all about crushing more goals.
Yeah, 100%. I think goals is a buzzword right now, especially in the communities that we've been in. In the personal development community, it's important to have a goal, but I think a lot of people are not taught the significance of a goal, the definition of a goal, and how to go about what you're talking about, setting, crushing, and achieving those goals. So first and foremost, I'm going to encourage anybody in any area of their life to define what success means to them first. So let's first define what success means in your personal life, in your relationships, in your finances, in your business, in your relationship with your creator, in your leisure. What kind of car, what kind of home, where do you want to live, in your contribution to the world? Let's define what success is. I think Earl Nightingale had the greatest definition ever. He says success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. So now we know what the goal is. How do we go about achieving? Well, you probably heard of SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time. I don't like that. I'm nothing against it, but what I subscribe to is something called the 6 steps to setting a goal. Step number 1 is you must have a goal. Okay, you must have a target inside. I truly believe that you're not living until you have a goal. Step number 2 is have a time of the goal to be achieved. So let's just say your goal is, I am so happy and grateful now that I have earned $10,000 a month. If your goal is 10,000, great. If it's 10,000 a month, 10,000 a day, 10,000 an hour, doesn't matter. The process still works. Now I need to have a time of when that will be achieved. So it would sound just like this. I am so happy and grateful now that I have achieved $10,000 a month by April 1st, 2022. That would be your goal. Number 3, I need to define or decide or write down the obstacles that have attempted to stop me in the past. To me, this is the most important part of setting a goal. If you know the enemy, you can defeat the enemy. There's no sense in being distracted or put off by the same things that have done that before. Hey, if you know you're lazy, let's create a plan to make sure that you get past the laziness. If you know you're a procrastinator, meaning really you're just lacking in confidence, let's create a plan to make sure you don't fall to that demise. Okay, number 4, who are the people that either A, I'm going to assist to get to their goals so I hit mine, or that are going to help me? In other words, who are the mentors? Who are the coaches? Who are the clients in your business? If you say, hey, I want to make $100,000 and you have a product that's $1,000, that means you want to help 100 people. It's very simple, right? Number 5, plan your work and work your plan. That means when I go into my goal, I'm not just going to be frivolous or facetious or naive to say, hey, listen, I'm just going to think about it and it's going to happen. No, that's not business. Business is metrics. I know by doing X, Y, Z on a daily basis, not necessarily being tied to the result. Damon, what do you mean by that? That means if I'm in sales, I'm going to look at every person that I go to share my product or service with, and I'm going to say, listen, I know I'm going to get a yes today, but it doesn't necessarily have to be from you. Okay? I'm going to trust the process. Number 6, I need to know what's in it for me. I think way too many of us are so hard on ourselves with the delayed gratification. Listen, if you have a goal to get to $1,000 a month, reward yourself when you get that $1,000 a month. If you have a goal to get to 10,000, if you have a goal where you say, you know what, I'm not quite ready to set a financial goal, but I have a goal of at least doing the activity every day. Reward yourself. I promise you, there are more good endorphins that are released when you reward yourself than when you destroy yourself. See, self-congratulations is a sign of maturity. You're going to respond subconsciously way better to you congratulating yourself for a good job than you being hard on yourself, being discouraging of yourself. Does that make sense? So the 6 steps setting a goal, I've been applying that for the past 7 years. That's how we went from $9 an hour. I made, I think, $11,600 some odd dollars in 2014. We went on 2015 to make over 6 figures in 6 months. We've created a multi-million-dollar, and I'm not saying these numbers to impress anybody, but to simply say, listen, if you practice the principles, you will too participate in the promise.
Listen, we can go all day just talking and dropping fire on this platform, but I want you guys who are watching to do a couple of things. Number 1, you need to like and share this video with other people in your community so that as you're learning, you also share with your circle. Remember, you're the average of the 5 people you're around. So as you're growing, make sure your circle is growing as well. Number 2, you need to follow this guy, right? You need to follow Damon. His social media links are below. You can also grab his ebook. So the link to his ebook is also below. And make sure that if you want to learn how to earn 6 figures, here's an ebook that covers that. And more importantly, Damon, do you have a final word you want to share with the community? Anything on you'd like to share and impart?
Yeah, you're in the online space, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you one last law, the law of compensation. Your income is going to be in direct correlation to the amount of people that you're able to assist or the value you bring to the marketplace. So instead of worrying about the product, the service, or even the industry, become a person of value and the money will chase you.
Boom. Amazing episode, brother. Thank you so much. And like I said, everybody, feel free to follow Damon. His Instagram is below, and also his ebook and his website, they're all below. And also drop a comment with an interesting nugget that you learned from this. Each month, I'm going to come in and read the comments, and I'm going to provide a gift card of $50 to the person who writes the most insightful takeaway. So that will be my gift. And what I will do is I'll actually go on my Instagram and post the winner, and also in future episodes talk about who it is. So if you want to make that $50, get some insights and nuggets, put it in the comments. Let's get that engagement going. High engagement is a high energy equals a high income result. So go in there, interact, and I'll catch you on the flip side.